One pastor, one event planner, one mission, both building the body of Christ with purpose, creativity, and a whole lot of heart. Up next on episode 9 of the CHI Connect podcast. Well, I'm here with Ryan Christensen, the Next Up manager at Grace Church. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank you for having me.
Ryan spoke at chapel this morning to all of our students, kindergarten through 8th grade. And wow, what a bundle of energy you are. It was a great message.
Thank you.
And so I'd love to unpack that a little bit with you today.
Yeah.
But first, let's get to know Ryan a bit more. So tell us about yourself,
Yeah.
Your family, how you got into ministry,
Ooh,
and
yeah.
most importantly, where do you get that energy?
Caffeine.
No. Oh, okay.
No. A little bit about me. I grew up at Grace Church. I went through all the youth groups, the camps, the retreats. So stepped onto Grace Church with full-time ministry. And
So it's been since 2021?
2020.
2020.
Yep.
Okay, so going into your 6th year,
Mm-hmm.
and I can tell you love it.
Awesome.
You are in front of the students, just energetic, goofy. You call yourself goofy with them, and
Yep.
you love that you're goofy. I love that you love that you're goofy.
Yeah.
Just owning it.
I think that's a part of my personality trait that God has gifted me with, and
There you go.
I use it.
So one of the things that you mentioned to our students today, which the big message, was the understanding of the big C, the church, and that everyone has a different role in the church. And you used a toolbox as an example. So a toolbox and tools is like the church and the believers. So share what you meant about that and how that relates to how kids think.
Yeah, I used a toolbox. Number one, because I like woodworking and crafting, and so I had the tools on hand, and I was thinking about we are each of us different, and each of us have a very unique, specific part of the church that we get to play a part of.
And you wrap scripture into that. You brought in 1 Corinthians 12 through
14.
14.
Yep. And Paul was talking about how there are different parts of the body. So he was more of just like a physical body aspects where, the hand is not the foot's not the ear is not the eye, but each
all really important.
all of them are work together and are super important. And so the toolbox was just an attention grabber of like, hey, you know what? I can't hammer in a screw. I can't cut a piece of wood with a wrench. Like, so it's each tool, when it's used properly,
How it was designed.
how it was designed, actually helps the overall with the craftsman.
You know, kids are so tangible. They love those examples. If you were a tool, what tool would you be?
I'm super loud and obnoxious, so I'd probably be a skill saw of some kind.
Okay, I was going to say a drill.
A drill.
Very
Yep,
noisy, but impactful.
Yeah. Fun.
And if it were me, I would say that I would be maybe more of a sander.
Yeah.
I like to smooth things over. You know, important to get the rough edges off.
Yeah.
A smoother. So we all have a task, right?
Yep.
And the way that we're wired.
Yeah.
And so for kids to see that, you know, I might really want to be a saw, but I'm not made to be a saw.
Exactly.
So a saw is going to do a lot better at cutting than a hammer, if I'm a hammer. And so helping kids see we don't need to wish we're something different, but just really receive the blessing of who God made you to be. And then there's a purpose and a plan.
Yeah.
So how do you work with kids to encourage them in, one, at this age that you work with students, 3rd through 6th grade or 5th grade?
Great. Yep.
They're trying to figure out who they are in Christ. And how do you encourage them in receiving the blessing of self, of who God made them to be, and that there's a plan?
So it's the repenting, turning away from their sin, believing in Jesus. That first step is crucial in everything that I do. So that is number one, a big part of it. Number two, it's then talking through of like, okay, how are you skilled? A part of it is me seeing how they're crafted, how God has gifted them, and then stepping up and using it.
Finding their niche, their comfort zone. And
We had one boy. Oh my goodness. Even the kids that they just seem like they're just sporadic. They're breaking rules, and I remember one time, like, I gave this boy the opportunity to work on the tech team, and like he's like, all right, your job is to hit the space bar whenever they're done singing whatever's on the slide. And man, that kid just locked in, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, I know how to use you now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, God has gifted you with the ability to pay attention to a screen, pay attention to the music, to take a task and a direction, and to charge forward with it. So,
I love that. And I think kids really need to feel seen
mhm,
in that way, where something about them stands out. In some cases, it could be in a negative way, but you find their niche and they can thrive. I heard a story once where there was this boy who just tapped. He just kept tapping on his desk, and his teachers were like, stop, 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 stop. And he would go through a year or two, and he was maybe starting to tell the story when he was like 5 or 6.
yeah.
And he was just so disciplined all the time by his teachers because he wouldn't stop moving and tapping. Well, finally, a teacher he had, maybe when he was about 8 or 9, said, so and so, Johnny, come here. And he thought, oh, here I go. He's going to get in trouble.
Another discipline. Yeah.
But the teacher said, I think you're a drummer. I think you're a drummer. He'd never thought about that, but he got him involved in drum lessons.
Yeah.
And that individual is now an adult in a very well-known band, Christian band,
Yeah.
and a drummer and thriving
Amazing.
because that one adult in his life, whether it's a teacher or a youth pastor, a parent, someone recognized a passion, a skill, a gift, and channeled it in a proper way.
Yeah.
And don't we all want that in our lives, to have someone recognize that and how we can be useful
Yeah.
and purpose-filled in our life?
Yeah.
What else can we encourage families to continue doing at home or in a car ride or as they're just raising their kids to help them in that way?
Oh, my parents are the biggest influence in my life. Still even to this day.
100%. Yes.
I now have a 6-month son, and I'm now of like,
That's
all the things that my dad talked about are true.
most important
Like,
role.
oh my goodness. So number one, like they're influential, more influential than me at Grace Church or at school. Like they have the power to speak into their kids' lives. And so what I would say is like either if they don't know what is taking place in the chapel, like ask them, hey, what took place? What are you taking away? Help their kids develop that skill of listening and retaining instead of, all right, I listened to a funny message and then forget when it is. Like, help encourage the kids to actually take and grasp and wrestle with it.
Continue that conversation.
Continue that conversation. Yeah. So yeah, I would say get involved, know what is being taught, and help the kids wrestle through the questions that they have.
Another piece I would say as well is ask them why they believe what they believe. Find biblical evidence or find proof, and that's another great conversation that can be spurred from that one.
Yeah.
You really just represent joy
Thank you.
and fulfillment with working with kids and how God uniquely made you. And it's a message to kids that God uniquely made them. And that purpose of sharing the gospel, a perfect blend to work with kids and minister. So thanks so much.
Thank you for
being with me today and at Chapel Hill and speaking to our students. Okay, here I am with Jacqueline Chanhassen, and she is the mother of 2 precious girls at Chapel Hill Academy and a corporate partner with her company Collective & Co. And so, Jacqueline, we're so excited to have you with us on our podcast today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You bet. We want to get to know you more, your family, and also your business and how you became a corporate partner. So let's first start with your connection with Chapel Hill and how you came to Chapel Hill Academy in the first place.
Yes. So I have Ellie, who's in 4th grade, and Addison in 1st grade. And as we were looking at elementary schools, we were kind of searching all of our options, public versus, Christian education. And it was actually through our company and one of our employees. I had some of our planners over to dinner one night, and they were asking, as we had just recently moved from St. Louis Park to Victoria, and we were like, we're looking for schools, and one of our planners was like, why don't you check out Chapel Hill? I went to Chapel Hill and we had heard about it, but nothing, not a lot. So then we came and we toured. And the one thing that, and it still stands out in our mind, that was so different than going to the public school route is when we came in and we toured, it was specifically Mr. T was talking to Ellie. And it was, hey, how are you? Are you excited to come here? And not so focused on us as the parents. And we walked away and we were like, nope, this is the place we need to be.
Wow.
It's focused on the children. You can tell the teachers are so invested in the children, that's what we loved. So we knew that they were safe here. They were going to get a great education. So we've been here for 5 years, and it's interesting that it was through the business that Chapel Hill was placed on our hearts.
That's really
Yeah.
sweet. And I love that you mentioned that about our teachers. They are incredible.
They're amazing.
And they truly love our students and care for them so genuinely. So thanks for sharing that. Now you have this really cool business. I'd love for you to share more about that and how you got involved in the whole industry.
Yes. So Collected & Co. is a event production company. We have a couple of different sides to our business. We do, one side is more production, planning and design, and then our other side is custom curated rentals and decor. We do all sorts of events. We do whenever there's like TV shows that are coming here into the cities. We do corporate, social, nonprofit, wedding. We do set design like this for companies that are having presentations. So we set up their stages for them. But we got into the event industry, I don't even know, 15 years ago?
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
So did you go to school for something like
No.
this? How did you fall into this?
Yes. So my husband Russ and I own the businesses, and we really have him to thank for this because he is an entrepreneur at heart. We both went to school for marketing, and he got a marketing and entrepreneurship degree, and we were working corporate after we had gotten married, and there was just a huge call on his heart to always do his own thing. And I was working in events in Chicago. I'm originally from Chicago. So I was working in events in Chicago, and then we got married. We were up here in Minnesota. And we first got into events by, we had a farm property that my husband and I renovated this 100-year-old barn into a wedding venue. It's when barns were the craze.
Is that still, by the way, or not as much?
We, not really,
Okay.
it's kind of started its decline in like 2020.
Okay.
So we were doing events out at the barn. And that's where Mary B. Craft, now Zemanek, who works for us, who went to Chapel Hill, student.
And was a very good friend of my daughter, which I have to add that little part.
She got married at our venue, and then a couple years later came to work for us as one of our planners. But yeah, so then we were doing our venue, and then we actually bought Collected & Co. from somebody. They came to us about purchasing them. They were a very small vintage rental company. And ever since then, we built in the design and the production and planning part to it. We bought that a little over 8 years ago, was a 10 by 20 storage unit. And now we're over 20,000 square feet warehouse. So it's grown. God has been a huge blessing, and we just try to do everything we can to pour back and honor God in everything that we're doing, because everything that we have is because of Him. The growth it's all due to Him, not because of anything that we're doing. Yes.
And we're so grateful because you've done a lot for Chapel Hill and for the events that we've had, our women's event. And so it's been really sweet to see how that event has really developed and changed with some of your pieces that you've brought in.
Yeah,
make it cozy and fun.
And just familiar. Events, you want people to feel comfortable and welcome and inviting, and you want them to feel intimate. And there's ways that decor and furniture can really do that. So we love to just, bring things in, change it up every year to make, especially the women's event, like I'm working with Amy Paul, like, hey, what do you want to do this year? What's the theme? How can we tie our theme into any decor and furniture pieces that we're bringing in? And we love to pour back into the school because you guys do so much for the families and our children. So anything that we can do to give back.
Thank you. That's so special for all of us too. Question for you about your pieces. Where do you get them? And do you have people go out to different auctions or shopping, or how do you find all these really cool, unique pieces that you use?
So when the kind of curated rental market started, probably about 15 years ago, it was very much going to flea markets, garage sales, estate sales, and buying furniture and then refinishing them. So it really started, everything in this kind of market started as, vintage. And then, slowly it started to change. We source from all over the world. So, I'm waiting on a phone call for a large container to come in that's at port right now we source from overseas, from different countries. We do local. We try to, as much as we can, support local businesses as well. So we have some custom pieces or backdrops or bars or things that will work with local fabricators here in Minneapolis. We've worked with some in Nebraska. So it just kind of depends on what the need is and where we can find that.
So you have different themes that you can go with. So you've got more rustic themes and more fancy formal themes and more modern contemporary.
Yes.
Themes.
We say we're kind of modern traditional, so that anytime you have any of our pieces at your event, you can always look back 10 years from now and be like, I could do the same thing because we stay classic. You can bring in some modern pieces, but how do you balance that out with something that is more traditional? Because in the world of events and the inspiration that you're getting from Pinterest and Instagram and TikTok and all those things, it can be very overwhelming, and you can have events that are very trendy, which is fine, I think, in the corporate realm because they're not hanging those photos on their wall. When it comes to weddings, having more sense of tradition with some spin of what's modern or trendy right now really helps. Yeah,
I'm sure people come to you all the time like, I don't even know where to start. How do you figure out where they're really wanting to go without them even knowing where they want to go?
As a producer designer, I also say that we're half therapists because we sit down in these design calls and we say, don't just show me what you like, because it's more about what are these emotions you want admitted at your wedding. So we go into, okay, tell me 3 emotions you want to happen.
That's a cool
tell me, what do you want if, we're talking about corporate or a wedding or something like that. What do you want your guests to remember the next morning they wake up? And at the end of the day, it's never about their inspiration boards. It's always, we want people to feel invited. We want people to feel warmth. So how do we evoke this in our guest experience? And so we really work with them through that. It's a long process. With corporate, sometimes it's, 2 months. There's some corporate partners that we're on like year 6 of doing events with them. And so we know each other really well. With weddings, it's a year to a year and a half, sometimes 2-year process. We say that, at that time in their life, we are their most important person. And with our wedding clients, we really get to dive into who they are. They really understand who we are because we want them to know that we have their back. We let all of our clients know that they're loved, they're cared for, they are prayed for. Every single piece of our furniture is prayed over in our warehouse so that every person that can sit down in a chair,
that gives me goosebumps.
that chair has been blessed so that it can continue. And it's little things like that it's just a chair, but it can be more. And that we always are asking, Russ and I are always asking and praying for, let us be a light in this, what is a very secular industry. It can be a very hard industry to work in, but let us be a light in that. Let our interactions with our employees and how we treat people be God honoring, so that people can just say there's something a little bit different about them, even though we may just be in passing and don't have time to share the gospel.
I love that.
Mhm.
And you really pour out as well.
Mhm.
You have been a blessing to Chapel Hill as a corporate partner and just you as a family. So thank you so
Oh,
much
of course.
for
Yeah.
being such a great part
Yeah.
of this ministry and being in partnership. We're really grateful.
Oh, we will do anything. We will do
Yeah.
anything for this school. You guys have, I could get emotional. Just your teachers are just fabulous.
Yeah.
Like Mrs. Lawner coming to the 4th grade girls basketball game. She doesn't need to do that. Mr. Wiersma teaching them and being the coach with a young family. He doesn't need to do that. Mr. T pouring into, our kids, and just the teachers are amazing. Like amazing. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that.
Yes.
Again, thanks for being with me today.
Yeah.
And sharing all about your business. And looking forward to many more events to come.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you. What a fun conversation that was with Jacqueline from Collected & Co. They're a wonderful corporate partner at Chapel Hill Academy, and we're so thankful for their support. They have elevated our events with beautiful pieces that they've brought in. And so if you have an event in your future, perhaps a wedding or a corporate event, you can check out the link below and see how Jacqueline can come alongside you for that plan. I'd also like to thank Ryan Christensen from Grace Church, the Next Up pastor. He brought such a great message to our students about being part of the body. The body has many members, and he used that toolbox example, a toolbox with all the tools that are all different and have different purposes. What a great metaphor our students were able to see and really understand. Not to mention laugh a lot today. They had a great time in chapel. But that message was really inspiring because it made me think about the fact that we all have gifts and talents that we have been given by God that we can use to His glory. Jacqueline is using her passion for decorating and event planning, and Ryan is using his passion for sharing the gospel with kids day to day at church through the Next Up ministry. So what is your passion? Where is God calling you? Why don't you take some time and think about that, pray about that, and enjoy exploring some new opportunities that He might have for you. So that's my little bit of wisdom for today. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the CHA Connect podcast. Have a great week and God bless.